Hey guys, Mario Martinez with M3 Junior Growth Strategies. Hope you're doing fantastic. So today's episode of Raw and Unfiltered, episode number 12. We are continuing with a three-part series of videos on how an entrepreneur is like a salesperson, or how a salesperson is like an entrepreneur. And the topic today, this one I got to tell you, it's going to take a few minutes here, so you're going to bear with me through this topic of conversation. You're going to love this particular topic and the story that goes along with it, along with the lessons that we're going to learn. Today's topic, how to be dumb and dumber in sales. All right? How to be dumb and dumber when it comes to sales. So let me just give you the backdrop of this story. This one, to me, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So there's an individual that is in our field, a so-called social selling and social media expert. And let's just give this person a name. Her name is Christina, all right? And Christina, in very, very infinite wisdom, decided that she was going to write several articles and post them into Social Media Today, Content Marketing Insider Group, and on LinkedIn through the personal profile, and several other spots, okay? Now, she was attempting to accomplish some thought leadership. And in these thought leadership articles, Christina decided that she was going to write about how social media and social selling experts are getting LinkedIn wrong. Not just part one, but part two. Whereby she specifically called out, looks like there's 10 people like Bryn Tillman, the amazing Bryn Tillman, John Nemo, an ink writer, John Turner, who's on the, I think one of the ink fastest growing companies of ink that was just recently named. Jay Baer, hello, David Merriman Scott, Vivica Von Rosen, Melanie Dodordo, and the list goes on, right? So she decided to write about these individuals and how they are getting social selling and social media wrong. Now, in and of itself, you might think, okay, well, that's not that big of a deal. Let's talk about, though, how to be dumb in sales. Number one, to be dumb in sales means that you take the time to talk bad about your peers, your fellow competitors, your fellow competition. Now, to be dumber takes it to the completely next level, and that is, there was another article written by this individual, and it identified 5 CMOs who are failing to go beyond branding when it comes to social efforts. And this individual listed 5 CMOs of some of the largest companies in the world who are, frankly, getting it wrong. John Kennedy from Xerox, Clay from Wiley, Kathy Kine from Lithium. I mean, these are some big named CMOs. Specifically calling them out, saying that what they're doing is wrong, their programs are wrong, their marketing efforts are wrong, they've got the use of LinkedIn incorrectly, they aren't implementing it right. So flat out, how to be dumb? You talk about your peers in such a negative way that it totally detracts from your message. How to be dumber is you actually talk about your potential buyers and the chief buying officers of someone who has the budget. Let me reassure you with 100% certainty. Now you're probably thinking this is crazy that somebody would do this, but let me reassure you with 100% certainty. If you ever put into print about potential buyers who are not getting their expertise correct, and you are not at a peer level with them, you will probably never get business from that particular buyer so long as they are in office from that moment in time till the rest of your entire career. All right? So that's how to be dumb, that's how to be dumb and dumber. Now, what is surprising behind this, and the lesson I want you guys to get from this, is what can you do when talking about the competition? How can you compete? What are the right things to do and what are the right things to say? And I've come up with a fairly good list. Now, get your notes out. Get your pen, and I want you to take some notes as we talk about this, because most of you probably think, well, that's so not something I would do. I would never write bad about one of my fellow competitors, but salespeople do it all the time. right? They do it all the time, and they do it wrong all the time. So I want you to take some notes on things that you can do as a sales individual. Number one, when you want to identify differences between you and someone else, the appropriate thing to do is always compare philosophy. And whenever you can, you edify your competition. Now, in our particular space, in the world of social selling, I've got several different peers that are amazing individuals, people that have mentored me. Some of us don't agree and see eye to eye on certain topics. And that's okay, but you would never see me write an article, even if I vehemently disagree with something, that calls that individual out. However, if I'm speaking with a customer, I can certainly point out that I respect that individual and that I've worked with them before and that I know their work ethic and they're great individuals. But philosophically speaking, we differ on this point, and that point. And that is how you approach it so that a buyer and or onlookers or viewers look at it and say, oh, and are able to digest it because you're not talking bad about somebody. All right, number two. If you are going to point out differences, and I've written some of these things down, if you're going to point out differences in philosophy, you never, ever smear your competitors personally. Never put it in, call out their name if it's a fellow competitor that you know. Why? Because you will totally turn off your buyers. All right? So never, ever, ever, ever smear them by name. Never talk about how they're getting it wrong. Never use words like, they tell you to do this, and this is so ridiculous because they're not even doing it right because of this, right? So you can't do those types of things when you're competing because guess what? No buyer is going to want to work with you. Nobody, because if you're smearing that person's name, what might you do in terms of working on their particular account? Nobody trusts you. Nobody believes in you. That's not the believability factor. All right. The third point I want you to take to heart is, look, if you're going to go to war with somebody, meaning you're actually going to document some of the things that this individual is doing wrong or this company is doing wrong, because it may be warranted. Maybe there's a situation that warrants it, and I do believe that there may be circumstances that there are. Remember, whatever you put in writing, it can be used against you. That is so important for you to understand. If you put something in writing through an email to a particular buyer, it will absolutely be used against you because if they don't like it, what are they going to do? They're going to take that email and they're going to forward it off to all the other decision makers. And some of the new data that just came out recently is that there's approximately 6.8 buyers now inside of any one decision-making process. So you potentially could have your name completely smeared, turned off by your buyers because you put something in writing, and now all of your buyers receive the same thing. And if there's one key influencer, that can change the mindset of multiple different individuals who may receive that. All right, next point. Number 4, if you're going to go to war, remember, if it's a buyer that you are bad-mouthing, if it's a buyer that you are going to badmouth, meaning the actual chief buyer. In this case, these articles, this individual, the name I think I mentioned, we're going to call her Christina. The individual actually called out chief marketing officers, chief marketing officers by name and by company who are doing their jobs wrong. If you're going to call them out, just remember, you'll probably never do business with them ever again. So that's probably important for you to note in case you didn't realize that. All right, if you're going to go to war, last and final point on this going to go to war, and you're going to call somebody out, you're going to call them to the carpet, you're going to call out them personally on how they may be getting it wrong or they suck or whatever the case might be, you better be prepared to go 12 rounds. That's what you need to do. And let me give you an example. Number 1. In this particular individual's case, who went out and published all these articles across all these different, and syndicated the content across multiple different mediums. I mentioned Social Media Today, I mentioned Marketing Insider's News, I mentioned LinkedIn Profile. There's a number of different places that this content was syndicated, the same exact pieces, okay? All 3 of these, about the buyers and about 2 different sets of social media and social selling experts. If you're going to go 12 rounds, number 1, you better make sure that your LinkedIn profile and your online branding and your social presence is legit, nailed, ready to go, and that there's nothing that anybody can talk about how bad you look. Now, in this particular case, let me give you the example. your reputation better be so stellar in the marketplace, and that there's not even an inkling that anybody would say, why are you even reading this article? This person doesn't even have a good reputation in the industry. This person has a reputation for overcharging clients. And in this case, this person has that reputation. The other thing that you want to think about is if you are going to go to war and you be prepared to go the 12 rounds, you do not want to use the company's names or logos in your branding for companies that have actually terminated their relationship with you. Meaning that if you go to that individual's profile and you see that they're working with company ABC, or they say they're working with company ABC, and you find out that company ABC actually terminated the relationship with them, your brand pretty much sucks, right? That's how to be the dumb, and definitely how to be dumber in sales. So you better make sure that you have your branding legit, your documentation for the corporate website, all that information ready to go. The other thing you want to do is if you are going to publish documentation, all right, if you're going to publish documentation, you're going to go to war against key iconic individuals that are peers in the industry, okay? If you're going to do that, then you need to make sure that you do not censor their commentary. A good example is I actually went on one of these articles and I wrote the word pathetic. This article is pathetic. But the individual decided not to approve that comment because they didn't want that commentary on top of their article. Why? Because it was pathetic. So you do not censor content. If you're going to go to war, you allow people to be able to bring in their commentary. And this is my last and final point, and hopefully I'm entertaining you with this discussion. This is outrageous, that some of these things that salespeople might do, and especially this one. But if you're going to talk crazy about your competition to your buyers, here's what I recommend. You better make sure that you're making the millions to support your activities. Because here's what people will think. Well, at least Mario is $1 million a year earner. And his methodology must work. So you at least have that to go off of. So how to be dumb and dumber. Dumb is that you talk bad about peers and you put it in writing. Dumber is when you go toe-to-toe with potential buyers and say they don't know how to do their job, and you put that into print. So guys, Sales 101, don't be dumb and don't be dumber. Subscribe to our YouTube channel here. You see the link at the bottom for more raw and unfiltered messaging and episodes, along with other social selling, sales training from LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social platforms like this. And look for the upcoming one. Subscribe to our blog right now. We've got a fantastic piece of article coming out, a piece of material coming out, an article that is talking about different types of tools that you can leverage, along with how to grow your Twitter following. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.